Televidente, danke pa aquela nesta sintonia com CBA. O programa favorito, Kofi e Notisia. Maneira nós anunciar, nós temos papel agora o representante do Conselho Mundial de Igreja em torno do fenômeno de gente sem nacionalidade. Nosso papel agora acaba com o presidente da Igreja Protestante Uni, na Corsol, senhor engenheiro Ralph James, e nós temos papel com o representante de Jamaica e o representante de Uruguay. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for accepting our invitation.
It is my pleasure. I'm very happy to be here.
Okay. Gracias.
Good morning.
Sí.
Gracias a ti.
Sí.
We're very pleased to be here.
Okay.
So thank you for it.
Okay. You are from Uruguay.
Yes, I am. Nicolas Sosa from Uruguay.
Sosa from Uruguay. And you are Jennifer
Martin.
Martin from Jamaica.
That's correct, yes.
Okay. So, James already explained why and about the relationship with the World Council of Churches. Okay. Why the involvement of churches with this matter of stateless people? Why?
The involvement of the church with stateless people is a very natural involvement because Christianity, as you know, is based on the Bible. The whole of the church is based on the Bible. And the matter of hospitality to strangers and to stateless people is a matter of biblical record. It is therefore natural that the World Council of Churches and churches around the world would take a very active interest in persons who find themselves without a state.
Okay, let me try to summarize for our audience, but because we speak papiamento. Senhora Jennifer Martin te explica que o envolvimento da igreja a nível mundial para que o fenômeno aqui de gente no mundo sem uma nacionalidade, and I understood it's about more than 10 million people, mas com 10 milhões de gente do planeta aqui não tem uma nacionalidade. Então, é envolvimento natural da igreja, basado riba, ponto na salida de Bíblia, na holandês bisa, que a igreja não tem que atender com esse assunto aqui. Não tem que pôr riba agenda. Para sobra, é um coisa natural que a gente riba mundo não tem uma nacionalidade. Because not having a nationality means you can marry, you can go to school, you can buy a house, you can buy a car, you can get a job. Those are the consequences, isn't that?
Those are the consequences. And in fact, the World Council of Churches describes such persons as being invisible. Very much alive, but invisible by not being able to participate in those normal human activities that you just mentioned.
Yes.
Sosa.
Yes, I also think it's very important for the audience to try to explain a little bit more what's statelessness in terms of it's not that we are talking about migrants, it's not that we're talking about refugees. You sometimes tend to think on that. I myself was confused some time ago, and we are talking about people that do not have a citizenship. And to understand this, we can think of citizenship as a membership, to a state. And without having that membership, you can't have rights. Nowadays, even the simplest things of life, like buying a SIM card, requires you to have an ID to be part of a state, and those people do not have this, are left behind. Some of those people, we've seen cases of people that grow up in a country that's the only country they know, and somehow, because of the laws of that country, become stateless from one day to the next, and that's terrible.
I'm going to summarize again. Senhor Nicolas explica, e promete que sei também senhora Jennifer Martin, que aqui se trata em torno de gente que está dentro da comunidade, pero praticamente não está não visível. Bota mira não, pero na nota registrar, na nota parte da comunidade, e não me sei, maneira a senhora Sosa te explica, brua não, correndo não documentar, of tibia não sabia se não é ilegal, mas gusta a palavra atol, porque não é ilegal no mundo, e não documentar. Então, diz para sobra, então tibia gente não nasce dentro do país. Diz para sobra, lei não e regra não vigente do país, tapone que não existe, pero não está dentro do país. Jennifer, you mentioned at the opening of the workshop about an example of a British citizen. Can you explain that again?
Yes, I can explain that. Between 1948 and sometime in the 70s, 85,000 persons across the Caribbean took the journey to England to help to rebuild war-torn Britain. Now, the particular example which I gave referred to a man who was born in Jamaica. In 1948, his mother took him to England with her. He traveled on her passport because he was a minor. They were both born in the island of Jamaica, but in those days they were born as British nationals because Jamaica was a colony. Well, they lived in England for many years, and the mother decided to return home to Jamaica to retire.
Now, the son, by then a grown man, did not accompany her. The problem for him, though, was that in all his years in England, he had been to school there and everything, he had never applied for a passport. And the laws changed drastically, and he was asked to bring forward documents to prove that he had been resident in England all those years. Well, he had no documents to bring. And so he was on a list to be deported. He lost his job, he lost whatever he had. He could not move freely in the country until his case came to light. Now, when the recently concluded conference of the Commonwealth heads of government took place in London, the entire case came to the fore. The Guardian newspaper in Britain had taken quite a stand and had reported, and reports had come out through various sources. But to conclude a long matter, it has now been resolved to the extent that the British government, they have apologized twice for the distress caused to those persons, and visas and passports and their proper national rights have been re-established. And we saw during this week of one deportee, an old lady of 81, being repatriated to her children in England, a country in which she had lived a long time, but she had been forced to leave the country.
Summarizing again, Senhora Jennifer Martin, representante di Iglesia na Jamaica, ito di CANACOM, Canadian,
Caribbean and North
America Council for Mission.
Ok. Anto, ela deu exemplo de persona, homem, que nasce na Jamaica. Su maior na abai com a Inglaterra, de período de 48, de colônia, Jamaica estava uma colônia ainda de Inglaterra. Então, ela não aqui estava nacionalidade British, inglês. É homem que estava escrevendo passaporte de sua mama, a vai Inglaterra com ele, caminha ela cresce, vai escola, vira homem adulto, e mama atrana na Inglaterra, pensionar e vai seu país back, Jamaica, gosta de sua oude dag no serviço holandês. Sua pensão. E o homem não vai com ele. Num dado momento, lei não cambia. Na Inglaterra, pessoa tem que abrir de dia para outro, de day, of the night para day, não se visa, de a noite para menta, ela vira ende sem nacionalidade. Essa que tem consequência. Lei nacional, não tem conta que tipo de costa aqui. Mientras que maior não de homem que a Inglaterra para rebelar a Inglaterra, que está destruir depois da guerra, na 45, Segunda Guerra Mundial. Então, essa aqui é drama the daily drama on earth, ku henenang, ku nota documenta, anto ku ta PC, iglesia nang at tuma posisyon kontra saki. Okay, there was a workshop. What are the results and the outcomes of the workshop? Sosa?
Yeah, well, I think one of the things we did at the workshop is to review some of the cases of the region, because we have a focus on the Latin American and Caribbean region currently, and so we are working at the World Council of Churches within the program, the Pilgrimage of Justice and Peace, and trying to implement changes from the Commission of the Churches on International Affairs, which is a body of the World Council of Churches, and so we are trying to review all the challenges of the region, and just to bring up very briefly some other examples, we've seen some challenges with Bahamas and Barbados, where they have their law, their nationality law has some problems with gender equality, and that leads to lots of issues with the mothers that are not able to pass on their nationality to their children, as well as man. And another case very important is Dominican Republic. That's a huge problem, because Dominican Republic came with a law that it's aimed to somehow pursue all of those Dominicans who are from Asian descent. And so overnight, lots of people who grew up in the Dominican Republic, who don't know another country than Dominican Republic, overnight are stateless people, and their own country, the country where they studied, the country they love and they belong to, does not recognize them.
The birth country. It is their birth country.
Yeah,
country of birth.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they are stateless people.
Yes. So,
okay.
Coming to your question, which was about the outcomes. So, in brief, we somehow noted some key elements where we as churches can help. Some of those are very, very concrete and specific. Like, for example, one of the things that is leading or causing sometimes statelessness is the lack of proper birth registration. You know, lack of documents on the registration, and well, the churches can play a very, very important role, because the churches have are in the communities and with contact with the people. So churches are somehow agents that can help people to register the births, encourage mothers to take the proper steps on that matter, and so on. That's just an example.
Okay. I want to summarize due to time, because I have some questions more. Your relationship with United Nations, the High Commissioner for this matter at United Nations. How is that? Is there any convention on this matter, stateless people? Is there any is there any program for ending this, and by when it must be ended?
Yes, well, actually there is, and there are conventions, and UN is working on this, and we, in our case as civil society, are trying to push and work together with the UN.
A pressure group.
Yeah, a pressure group, back home on our own countries, but also at the UN headquarters, and we are trying to push for these changes. But the challenge is not only legal, because of course the solution has to come from the states. I mean, the law has to be adequate in order to prevent statelessness, and there are conventions on that, and some countries, lots of countries are ratifying those conventions. But it's also a matter of political will. Sometimes the law does gets it right somehow, but the political will and the xenophobia in some countries is so huge that they manage to, you know, go around the law.
Okay, this is, I need to summarize. This is important. Está explicando Sosa de señor Sosa, Nicolás Sosa de Uruguai, está explicando que não tem relação com a Nações Unidas e que tem tratado internacional para atender que assunto aqui, que tem programa para stop, para end esse assunto aqui e mas compreender que 2024, 2024 não me se tem nenhum caminho no mundo mais ainda não sem nacionalidade. Pero é assunto aqui, tem assunto de lei só, é um assunto de political will la bisa. Significa que politicamente Estado não, jefe de Estado não, ministro não concernir, mas se take stand. Acaba que coisa que passou, é injusto, ainda não está nada, ela menciona Dominican Republic, República de Dominican, não está Santo Domingo, Dominican, sim? Ainda não ocupa anos a nasce não vive não por motivo de cambio de lei a vira stateless, a vira ainda não nacionalidade, tá algo inhumano, tá algo inhumanitário, tá algo que nós não podemos permitir. I know because I went on the links of UN, there is a petition, you can sign a petition. Se você vai riba o link de Nações Unidas, tem uma petição que você firma. I signed the petition. I signed it this morning. I signed the petition because I am committed solidarity, my solidarity with this matter, and I'm going to ask also our Minister of Justice, because I noticed a representative of our Minister of Justice at the opening of the seminar. So I think I'm going to invite him to this program to see how it is with this political will from the side for our Minister of Justice. So we are running out of time, and I me agradecido com você takinanan, bota takinan pa yudami tradução pero entabatra nodi. Okay? Thank you for being being here. You also, Mr. Sosa. Televidente, assim que nós chegando na final de outra edição interessante de Kofi Notisia, nossa papi obviamente com o senhor engenheiro Ralph James, que é o presidente de Igreja da Protestante Unida Corsol, nossa papi com a senhora Jennifer Martin, que é de Jamaica, de Organização Caribbean and North America Council for Mission, é a co-moderator de Peace, Justice and Peace, de Pilgrimage. Anto nossa papi também com o senhor Nicolás Sosa, que é de Comissão de Igreja, Commission of Churches de International Affairs, a Comissão de Igreja de Assuntos Internacional, em torno do fenômeno mundial de stateless people, gente sem uma nacionalidade. 10 milhões de gente, 10 millions, 10 milhões voor de Nederlandse kijkers no mundo não tem nacionalidade. É coisa que está justiça, é injustiça, e não por a mim afirma, obviamente, petição de Nações Unidas para acabar com assunto aqui, me aconselho para subir riba o link de Nações Unidas, busca petição firme e me também põe a agenda nacional de nosso governo para meio de nosso ministro de Justiça, senhor Meester Quincy Girigori, e me tenho aqui para papi com ele o programa aqui para com a situação que está de nosso país, se aqui também tem gente sem uma nacionalidade. Danke para a sintonia, essa aqui também está Kofi Notisia, e Jabierne com Joske.